Welcome to Africa Insight. In this week's video, I'm joined by my colleague, senior economist Brendon Verster, who's going to talk to us about something very interesting. So recently, the IMF released a global report on growth. Brendon, can you tell us more about this?
Sure, Jervin. So yes, as you mentioned, the IMF released its latest update for its outlook on global growth. And of course, as we expected, the crisis in the Middle East is of course going to place a drag on growth. In sub-Saharan Africa, they cut growth by 0.3 percentage points to 4.1% for this year.
Yeah.
And obviously there were some winners and losers, but the IMF sort of stressed that its outlook is very much reliant on what's going on in the Middle East. But it did also say that the crisis is a big test to global resilience. So they included a reference forecast, and then they also included some forecasts related to oil price scenarios. So obviously this just goes to show that the situation is very fluid, and they don't have it can go both ways. But obviously for Africa there's quite a bit of concern. The crisis will hit a lot of countries hard because they rely on imports from there.
And talking on Africa, just if you could give us maybe some granular detail on any impacts on the continent, any specific countries you can maybe think of, maybe some of the oil producers. We always think, there's always this narrative, we both cover Nigeria, that Nigeria is going to benefit. Maybe could you touch a little bit on that?
Sure. So there were, of course, some winners and losers, but across the board, it's obviously a bit bleaker than in its October 2025 release. Interestingly, the IMF now expects the Botswanan economy to grow by quite a bigger margin than in October last year. Yeah. And that's probably just due to base effects that they expect. We know that the economy is struggling quite a bit. And then interestingly, as you alluded to, is that they cut growth for Nigeria from 4.4% to 4.1%. And that's sort of that they said that the impact on the non-oil economy will outpace the benefits that the country gets from higher oil prices. But I also think it's just important to say that oil production in Nigeria has essentially halved since the highs in 2010. So the impact from higher oil prices is of course much lower than it would have been. And the country has a lot of structural issues as well. So I think we have lifted our growth outlook a bit, but I think there's still a lot of issues in Nigeria.
All right, cool. Thanks for breaking it down. I think let's leave it at that.
Thank you for joining Africa Insight this week. If you'd like more information on our products or services, please visit our website or socials.